And I never ever thought I would tell this story, and I still get the creeps, the memory of any of this. And I'm going to be a little bit cryptic, if you get my drift. I had called my mom and she's like, Christy, I have a really bad feeling. Do not accept this job. Do not accept the job. I'm telling you right now, something's not right. Do not accept this job. And he said, I can tell that you are very psychic, and I can tell that you know who I am and what I am.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I want to share a video with you that is very, very interesting. We've heard folklore about werewolves, vampires, things that just cannot be explained. And I know some of you out there have stories that maybe you want to share with us, or some of you just might be too scared to share it. Meeting people that you're not sure if they're even human, you don't know what just happened or what you just ran across. I want to share this video right now. This woman, she is claiming that she sort of kind of met what she believes is a vampire. Listen, I'm not going to say she's crazy at all, because I have experienced things that's considered supernatural, and so many of you have as well. Listen to what she has to say about her experience. I'm not even going to say anything. Just listen to this.
I'm seeing all these videos about vampires popping up on my TikTok For You page. And I never ever thought I would tell this story, at least in a public forum. But here goes. This is my vampire story. It still baffles my mind when I think that, say that, and I still get the creeps with the memory of any of this. And I'm going to be a little bit cryptic, if you get my drift, with regards to some of the experiences. But several decades ago, I had lost my job. I had just had my baby girl. So she's going to be 30 this year. So that's how long it's been. And I had gotten a job interview at a local business. Again, I'm not going to say what kind of business. And I went to this interview and I immediately felt something odd with the owner of this business. There was something so mesmerizing about him. He wasn't good looking, but he was good looking. It's hard to explain. Like, there was just something strange about him, and he just felt almost hypnotic. And he said, I'm interviewing for a couple more people, and I'll give you a call in a couple days and let you know if you get the job. Okay. I did get the job. A couple days later, he gave me a phone call and he said, I am offering you this job at this pay. And it wasn't bad. The hours weren't bad. The pay wasn't bad. And I said, let me think about it. I had another offer on the table. And he said, please let me know by tomorrow. And I'm like, understood. So I had called my mom, and my mom is very intuitive, even though she didn't really want to admit that she was. And I told her, and I'm like, I got this job offer, and I didn't even tell her a lot of like the creepiness that this guy kind of gave me. And she's like, Christy, I have a really bad feeling. Do not accept this job. Do not accept the job. I'm telling you right now, something's not right. Do not accept this job. Now, this is a business that was in the person's family for a long time. And so it wasn't anything out of, it wasn't like a starter company. This person was kind of known in the community. My mom didn't know him, but so it was a substantial, real job. And I'm like, Mom, I don't understand. I need a job. She's like, you're going to get a job offer from that other place that you interviewed for. Just stick it out. Tell this guy no and accept the other job once it comes. And I'm like, this job was actually, it was pretty good. But I took my mom's advice and I called the gentleman the next day and I said, I'm so sorry. I am really honored, but I'm declining the job offer. And thank you very much for your time. And he's like, I will double your pay. Excuse me, sir? I will double your pay. Now, it already was good pay, but double the pay was a lot of pay. And I'm like, again, something felt really off. And I'm like, sir, I'm so sorry. I'm going to decline. And he's like, I'm going to check with you in a couple days. And there was just something very ominous about the way that he said that. And that night, I ended up having a dream with him in it. And it was very vampire-ish, is the only way that I can describe it. And the business that he was in also spoke volumes for that. So a couple days later, he called me and I said, again, sir, I've accepted another job, and I did not tell him with whom. And he's like, I will triple your salary. And I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. And he said, I can tell that you are very psychic, and I can tell that you know who I am and what I am. And I think it would behoove you to take this job. What? So I told him again, no, thank you. And he said, okay. Now this was like, internet wasn't really a thing. Like, you couldn't really look people up. There was AOL chat and such like that, but you couldn't really look people up like you can now. And so I ended up accepting a job at a cabinet store, and as an office manager. And I didn't hear from him, but I was still having these weird nightmares with him in it. And I'm like, it's just got to be in my head, right? But it was almost like he could read my mind. It was very strange. Well, guess who showed up at the kitchen store the second day that I started? Yeah, this guy. And it's like he knew that I was going to be there. He's like, hi, Christy. And I'm like, excuse me, what are you stalking me? Like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm ordering a new kitchen for the business. Like, it was nothing. And he continued to come in my dreams. About a year later, I ended up taking a job at a fireplace store as an office manager. A couple days into that, this gentleman walks in and says, I need a new fireplace for my business. Excuse me? Now, I'm not going to say everything about the business and everything about him, but you might be able to figure it out with a clue. And that is, he lived above the business. That's all I'm going to say. So he's like, yep, I need a fireplace. And I'm like, sir, I don't understand why you're here. And he continued every time. He's like, would you like to work with me? I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm good. I worked at the fireplace store for a couple of years, and he would every once in a while call, and he would ask for the fireplace to be serviced. And I ended up telling my boss at the time, like, how I felt about him. And he would laugh, and he's like, I'm going to send you out there with the tech. And I'm like, no, you're not. But he was like, yeah, something strange about this person. Something is almost like immortal. Even if you look at the family lineage, it's like he's existed before, and it wasn't like his great-great-grandfather. It was like him. So I ended up quitting a couple of years after that, and I worked for a school district. And guess who showed up at the admin office? Him. And in the meantime, he's still coming in my dreams. And every once in a while, he's still calling me and asking me if I want a job. And no. My mom had passed away. I'd gotten a divorce. I mean, we are eons into this. And I ended up running into him at a store, and he, like, do you remember everybody you interviewed like one time? Because he either has a really crazy memory, or it wasn't like a stalker. He just wasn't. That wasn't the case. It's just, again, it was very vampiristic. Is that a word? And so I ran into him, and he's like, hi, Christy. And again, he's like, how are you doing? And it was just very kind of Norman Bates creepy. I ended up in the job that I'm in now. I'm a professional psychic medium. I ended up having to go to a competitor of his to work on a case. And we ended up talking about this gentleman and his business. And I didn't say anything, but the owner of this establishment went, just Christy, make sure you stay away from, because he's a vampire. And I didn't laugh, and she didn't laugh. And she knew I knew, and I knew she knew too. So vampires do exist, and they don't necessarily wear capes. Sometimes they wear business suits, and sometimes they invade your dreams. And I feel as if there's a possibility that my life at that time was a little bit crazy, and it was because of the psychic sort of like vampire energy that he was sending to me, because he was mad that I did not accept a job with him. I would love to tell you more, but I don't want to open up that can of bats.
Oh my goodness. So what do you all think? What do you all think? I believe her. I believe her. I don't think that she's making it up. There's a lot of things on the earth that cannot be explained. A lot of you have seen things you can't explain. Some of you are afraid to tell the world things you've seen. And there's a lot of things. We're not the only people in the galaxies. We are not the only people that's living on a planet. I have no reason to believe that the things they put in movies can't be real, like werewolves and vampires. One of my favorite films is Interview with the Vampire. If you've never seen this movie, you need to see this movie. It's absolutely the greatest vampire movie that's ever been made. I know they did the remake right now with the TV show. Watch the movie, the original movie. Absolutely a beautiful film. So, but as far as her, you know what? Listen, answer this question in the comment section. Would you have taken the job? Because I don't think he was going to suck her blood and eat her or anything. Sometimes vampires need a companion from the outside world. That was on Interview with the Vampire. They need people to be able to work with the public. Some people might look down on the vampire, but some of them didn't choose to be vampires. Some of them were bitten and they turn and they have no other option but to survive off of drinking blood. What else are they going to do? That's how they have to live. My thing is, if I was a vampire, I would probably only target really bad evildoers, be like Dexter, be a you know what I'm saying? So, but this is her story and I believe her. It is scary. I would be scared. I would never be able to let it go. I would be thinking about the vampire every single day, like, oh my God, is he coming to get me? Is he going to hurt me? Just, oh my God. The business, I'm wondering what kind of business was it? Something is telling me that it was a funeral home, or maybe a liquor shop, maybe. I don't know, a laundromat, a liquor store, a furniture shop, or a funeral home, something like that. And she said that he lived above the business. So I'm thinking of businesses like that. And he's still alive to this day, if the story is true. And I think that if a vampire wants you to work with them and all that stuff, they should give you a choice. That's one thing in the Interview with the Vampire. Lestat kept saying I wasn't given a choice. Well, in this case, he probably was going to give her a choice. I don't think that he was going to turn her, though. I think he needed someone to help keep the business going. He needed somebody to work with him. Um, so there's just so much on the planet. What we just hear about vampires and werewolves. There are things that, again, I said in my recent video, stuff that you just can't imagine. Things that we never really thought of, that's roaming the earth, that's walking the earth. And sometimes they don't even want to be what they are. They don't want to have to do the things they do. And I'm not saying it's right, but you have sharks in the ocean, scary as I don't know what, their nature and what they do. And then you have the vampires. This was also in the film Interview with the Vampire. They've been turned and now they have a different nature to survive. It's pretty scary. No one is prepared. You think you're prepared, you're not prepared. You know what's crazy is one time I was at a restaurant and I was talking. This is when I was a child, and it was something about this man. And all of a sudden, it's like I couldn't think anymore. Like he was watching me. I could feel it. And it's like time stopped. It's like time stopped. And next thing you know, I'm looking down on my shirt. I spilled what I was eating or drinking on my shirt. I didn't even notice it. I didn't even notice that I spilled something because it's like he had some sort of power or control over me with his gaze or something. I can't explain it to this day. I have had supernatural experiences again, and I don't write people off when they say these things because people will say, oh, she's crazy. Oh, she's making it up. She just wants to be famous. Oh, they don't exist. A lot of times the stuff you say does not exist. That's what exists. A lot of stuff you think, and they say it in the movies, we got them fooled. It's good for so many years. They thought we were just a myth, just things they made up. Look at that movie called 30 Days of Night. Okay. They don't believe it until it actually happens to them. And when it happens, you usually can't say anything because there's a lot of stuff that goes down. It's not all what you think it is. And not everyone could handle it. And it's pretty interesting, but I can't help but think of that movie Fright Night too, when he was turning people, and they're nothing to mess with. They have power, they can read your thoughts, they're physically stronger, their nails can get long, at least from off the movies you see, but she described him as sort of beautiful. Not necessarily beautiful, but beautiful. Something about him. So he looked normal, but he had an aura and there was something about him. He's probably going to see this video. Seriously. She made the video. I guess she got tired of holding it in. She got tired of holding it in. Interview with the Vampire. It shows you so much. Not everyone wants to always live forever. Seeing tragedy after tragedy, outliving all your friends, someone that you love. In Twilight, they found love and everything. And in some cases, some people might like it. You've seen the world for so many years, thousands of years. You know human beings pretty much, and you survive. So, and there's a whole society. When we go to bed at night, there is a society out there. The world doesn't stop. You better believe that. So that's all I have to say for this video. What do you think? Do you think she's telling the truth? Do you think you ever met a vampire? If a vampire wanted you to work for their business and was going to triple your pay, would you do it and keep your mouth shut? Would you even ask the vampire to eventually turn you into one if you wanted to live forever? And what would you do in that sort of situation? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you so much, everyone. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell and click all notifications so you know when I'm live. Like I said before, in this world, anything is possible.